Charlie talks about the biggest GoFundMe scam in history. The biggest scam in GoFundMe history.
It's not often that I'll follow a news story for more than a month, but there's one story that I've been following for 5 years now, and it's finally concluded. It's been like my own little personal soap opera to enjoy, and for some reason one that not a ton of people have talked about, despite it being one of the biggest scams in GoFundMe history. Now please, hop into my magic school bus and allow me to take you on a journey through time. It is 2017 years after the death of Christ, and a woman named
Years after the death of Christ, right?
Caitlin McClure starts a GoFundMe titled Paying It Forward with a picture of her standing next to a homeless veteran named Johnny
I think I saw this
she
one.
She then tells the story about how
I think I saw. I know the story, but like in parts and pieces. Like I haven't followed through the whole story. Yeah, she apparently scammed the guy.
But Johnny Bobbitt came to the rescue like a saint, giving her his last $20 despite being homeless in order for her to pay for gas and get home. This heartwarming story tickled the soul of over 14,000 people who donated to this cause to try and help get Johnny Bobbitt a better life. The GoFundMe was started with a $10,000 goal, which was obviously fucking annihilated, raising over $400,000 for
what
Johnny Bobbitt.
What the fuck, man?
Just a real feel-good
People have a lot of money to throw around.
A lot of you have heard of. This was 2017, and GoFundMe was very popular at the time. It still is, but this is when GoFundMe was really popping off. Some of you watching may have even donated to this cause, and I'm sorry to be the one to slap you with the unpleasant palm of the truth, but you were scammed. The 5-year investigation here has finally concluded. It was 100% a scam, and the verdicts have been passed. I'm going to get into the verdicts and everything towards the end, but I want to give you this entire timeline here because this is more wild than you'll probably expect. Now, I've been pretty outspoken about the dangers of GoFundMes. I think it's a great tool that gets abused by a lot of pieces of shit just trying to take advantage of good-intentioned people, just trying to squeeze money out of them. So you just got to be careful. You can't just blindly donate to something on GoFundMe without doing your due diligence first to make sure it's legitimate. I can't even count the number of times there's been like a tragedy or something noteworthy in the news and a fraudulent GoFundMe campaign gets started. A lot of people donate to it and it turns out it was run by someone unrelated to the events, and they just
people wanna give back, right? I think giving back is essentially something that makes one feel good.
Just pocket the money and run. It happens so often. There's just so many scams there. You have to be careful, and you'll see a ton of these like feel good GoFundMes or like really needing help things that have these like really sad stories. My son slipped on a banana peel at the park. He broke both of his legs, both of his arms, and his skull was cracked in half like a fucking walnut. I'm looking for $3,000 for emergency surgery ASAP to fix my son. You like scratch your head like $3,000? That doesn't sound enough to cover the cost of all this. It sounds like you're going to need a brand new Android son. Like fucking cybernetic enhancements here. $3,000 isn't going to work. That's something fishy is afoot here. Then the next thing you know, you just bought that scammer a brand new Lexus. The point is, you just got to be careful. That's what I'm trying to say. I'll stop ranting about GoFundMe.
I'm only live on Twitch.
Back to the story. So in 2017, Caitlin McClure was dating a man named Mark D'Amico. And then one fateful night, they were texting each other, and they started talking about a homeless man they both knew. That homeless man was Johnny Bobbitt. And we're talking about him, talking about, like, maybe wanting to help him, and they'd given him $10 in the past. And then an hour after this conversation between the two of them, they launched the Pay It Forward campaign after taking a picture with Johnny Bobbitt. And then they fabricated the whole gas story.
So Johnny didn't even help them out.
$20 so she could get fuel and get home. Which was a complete lie, confirmed in text messages, by the way, where McClure was bragging about it and talking to a friend about how she made up that part because she needed to make it sad. It's actually like a scam Ed and Eddie would have run for jawbreakers here, except these are 400,000 jawbreakers. They raked in a fat stack of cash, and then they started spending that money. They bought a BMW, a New Year's Eve trip to Las Vegas.
Fuck, man, you don't do that.
Canyon,
you gotta lay low, right? If you ever scam someone like that, right, you gotta lay low, man. You gotta fucking, you gotta say, I bought this, I got this, I won the lottery, right? And this money that I'm using, I'm just, it's you just buy a place and run. You gotta know how to, Make it legal. What the fuck?
A whole bunch of shit from these GoFundMe donations. They were just spending the fuck out of the money on all kinds of luxury items. And from reading some of the text messages, I do think this started with them just having a normal conversation about like maybe wanting to help that homeless guy. But when they saw how much money was coming in, they eventually just got completely corrupted by it and just decided to turn this into a cash cow for all three of them to milk together. But I could be wrong.
All three of
Maybe
them.
I'm putting too much faith in the assholes here, and this never had good intentions even from the get-go. But anyway, in 2018, Johnny Bobbitt shocked the world when he sued Kate McClure and Mark D'Amico, claiming that they were withholding most of the GoFundMe funds. According to him, he only received like about $75,000 worth of it, and he called it like his share of the funds.
Wow.
And from this lawsuit, it got investigators really interested in exactly what the fuck was going on here. So after doing a little poking and prodding and combing through 60,000 text messages, they concluded that this whole thing was made up and all three of them were in on it together with the goal of money. Big time cash. Fat, filthy clams. They all came together and agreed to keep up this story. So Bobbitt was in on it as well. This wasn't them just taking advantage of a homeless veteran.
Man.
This was them cutting him into their
deal
scheme here. And it's been 5 years, and they've been going through the trial and all of that. Kate McClure was sentenced to a year in prison for her role in all of this, maintaining that Mark was the real mastermind here, the puppet master pulling the strings of this giant scam. Now, I'm no super sleuth, nor was I a detective on this case, but if you ask me, that's a load of baloney. I don't think Mark was forcing you to buy Louis Vuitton bags or flex your BMW or anything like this. I think you were very, very enthusiastic about this whole thing, especially when reading the text messages. I think getting a year for your role in this is really light sentencing. Johnny Bobbitt received ordered a recovery program, and if he fails to stay clean, he could face up to 5 years in jail. And today, the big guy Mark D'Amico himself received a 5-year prison sentence for his role in this giant scam. Unfortunately, Mark didn't have a smile on his face today. He just didn't look very happy. But you know who was happy? Me. I was so pleased to see this.
What the fuck was that smile, man?
Today. He just
seriously
didn't look very happy. But you know who was happy? Me.
Oh my god, this is gonna give me nightmares. What the fuck is this, Charlie? Why? Wait, I wanna make this the thumbnail though. I wanna make this the thumbnail.
See this? I absolutely love when a shit stain gets actual punishment for what they've done. Scamming people who are trying to help other people is one of the lowest things you can do. So I'm actually, I'm of the belief that he got off really easily here. All three of them did, if you ask me. I think this is deplorable, and I think there's absolutely no fucking excuse for it. So I think 5 years, 1 year, and a potential 5 years is really lenient, all things considered. But that's just me. I'm sure a lot of you are also curious as to whether or not the donors got their money back, and the answer is yes. In 2018, GoFundMe stepped up and refunded all 14,000 donors, gave back all 400 grand from this campaign. So good on them for making that right. Overall, I am happy with the series finale here. I followed this show for 5 years, and I now feel the way I did when Breaking Bad concluded. A great ending overall, but you know, it's going to be a little sad not to be able to follow this anymore, but I'm happy with the way it all wrapped up. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a bit because it's not a story I see talked about that often, surprisingly. Even though it's a pretty big deal, a $400,000 scam, that's not like pennies.
That's not pennies.
That's a lot. So I just thought it was worth at least mentioning since it finished today. That's about it. See ya.
That's about it. See ya. Hey, that was interesting. Hey boys, if you have watched and suffered through the video till here, subscribe for the chest hair, right? Yes, and also follow me on twitch.tv/Newton Me, Mr. Wilson. I might be live right now. Who knows?